In this video, I'm going to share with you a crazy crystal story time that happened to me when I was really little. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. I'm an astrologer, card reader, and life coach, and this is my channel dedicated to all of those things, plus spiritual topics in general. And one of those topics is crystals. So we're going to be talking about crystals today as part of a little mini series on crystals. So I showed you guys my crystal collection. I talked to you guys about how to pick out crystals. I shared with you guys a method for cleansing crystals, and today we are going to actually be talking about a little crazy story time about crystals featuring this crystal, the first real kind of esoteric crystal that I ever got. I did have a little miniature mineral collection and gemstone collection from my grandpa, but this was like the real quartz crystal, the first real quartz crystal kind of thing that I ever had. So we're going to talk about this. And please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos like this, because the next video that I do on crystals will be about building crystal grids. So you don't want to miss that. There are really some amazing techniques that I have to share with you. And I think the most important video you should watch, even if you are just kind of thinking about getting a crystal, is the cleansing and charging crystals video. So it's going to be in this playlist. Just watch the whole thing. All right, so this is kind of a casual video, but this, my friends, is what really made me a believer in crystals, and which is why I have such an enormous collection. I mean, it's actually not really that crazy, but I just think I think it's a lot of crystals. I don't like having a lot of stuff, so to me it's like, I wish you guys could see this mess. I spilled salt everywhere, and it's just like one crystal after the other. I don't even want to deal with it. But this is the first crystal that really changed my whole world and made me really think about crystals. So I think I was 12 or 13 at the time. I really had to figure out these exact dates because I think something crazy was happening when I was 12 that was just making me want to be a really spiritual person, because almost all my stories start when I was 12 if you watched my channel. And some of you guys already know this story because I've kind of talked about it in passing in some interviews, I think. But basically, I was with my grandmother. She's the one that really got me into all this kind of stuff. She would take me to see Sylvia Browne and Sonia Choquette and all these great people. And we went to this metaphysical bookstore when we were visiting my aunt in Texas. And it was really cool. I had never been to a metaphysical bookstore before. I grew up in the country in the middle of nowhere where there weren't even any bookstores in my town. So being in a metaphysical bookstore was super cool and exciting. So I was really, really excited to be there. And there's you go into a metaphysical bookstore and there's a section about palmistry and a section about card reading and a section about tarot and a section about astrology. And I was just in there and I was like, what do I want to be? I can be an astrologer, I can be a tarot card reader. I was like, this is amazing. I was just interested in everything. It was every single book that I saw just made me think this book can teach me about myself. This book can explain the universe to me. It was the most exciting experience ever to be in a metaphysical bookstore for the first time. So I remember I walked in and I was just looking at a bunch of books and kind of asking myself I can get any book in this whole store. Which one am I going to choose? And I wanted every single book. You should see my bookshelf now. It's all astrology and card books. But we went there and my grandmother was she loved to spoil me when I was a kid, just as all grandparents do. So she was you can get a crystal. You can pick out any crystal that you want. And I was like, are you serious? To me, it was she was buying me a diamond ring, right? So I go to the counter and the people that were there were like, well, which crystal do you want? And it was between two crystals and they were both very similar. It wasn't this exact one. I'm just using this as an example. And I said, I want one of the spheres, but I don't know which one I want. And they're like, well, pick one. I'm like, I don't know. And they said, you know what? Well, we'll give both of them to you. You put one in each hand and you'll just know which one is meant for you. And if you watch my crystal picking out video, you'll kind of see where I got that technique from a little bit. It's been refined, but it's from the very early beginnings. So I just had these crystals in my hands, and I just walked around the store, and I was like, how am I supposed to know? Like, what do they mean by I'm just going to know? Because I was kind of still figuring out what intuition was and what my senses about things were. So I was like, okay, how am I supposed to know? But pretty soon after that, I kind of forgot about it. I was just kind of looking at different astrology books and different tarot card decks. I was so into the tarot. So I was looking at different tarot card decks. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I felt the craziest shock of electricity go through my left hand. Like the craziest. It like to the point where I was like I screamed a little bit. And then I looked at the counter where I had just picked out the crystals about 7 minutes earlier. And I said, why did you do that? Like, why did you do that to me? And they said, what do you mean? I'm like, how did you guys do that? And like, I walked to the counter and I was looking, and I seriously expected someone to be sitting there with like a remote control little button to press or something to shock me. And I was like, where's the button? Where's the button? And they were like, what are you talking about? And I said, the crystal, it shocked me. This is a trick, like really funny. You guys are so funny, ha ha, but I mean, explain this to me. How did this work? And they're like, no, it wasn't a trick. And it took like a whole like 3 minutes of us going back and forth where I was like, where's the little remote control? And how does this work? Like, where's the battery in this thing to shock me? Before they finally were like, no, I think you really had like a metaphysical experience here. And I was like, are you serious? They're like, yes, that's the crystal for you. That crystal spoke to you. That's how crystals speak to you. You feel something from them. And to me, like, literally, it was like time and space ripped open, and I just understood that there were experiences that you could have that were much more profound than just the normal three-dimensional reality. And I continued to have experiences like that, ever since. And of course I did before then, but to me, to have something impact myself like so viscerally in everyday life, just walking around like that, I mean, that to me was crazy. So I got that crystal. It's still here. It's my most powerful crystal of all of them. I sometimes like keep it in this little pouch that I have. It's sad. It's a rabbit pouch, but it was given to me when I was like 6 years old or something, so I kept it. But I keep it in something soft and protective, and it's my favorite crystal. It really is. So thank you, Grandmama, for getting this for me, and thank you to those people at that shop that educated me on what crystals were about. And I'm very, very, very sensitive to crystals, so I do feel crystal pulses and I do feel crystal energy. So this is not the first and the last time I ever felt a crystal pulse. I actually feel crystal pulses from 99% of crystals to varying degrees depending on if they're charged and if they're the right crystal for me. And many of you have that ability too. So if you want to discover if you have that ability, then go and try going to a crystal shop and hanging out with some crystals. And you can check out my technique on how to pick out a crystal. And that was a really wonderful day for me too, because the women that worked there were very psychic, and they told my grandmother when I was very young that I was going to be a really, really great tarot card reader. I don't know if I'm a really, really, really great tarot card reader or not. That's not for me to decide, but I always thought I would be a musician or something, and it's kind of funny that my life took this path very directly at a younger age. So things like that, a lot of psychics saying things like that to me at a very young age, I think really led me on this path. So thank you to those women, whoever you were, that were working at that metaphysical bookstore in Texas almost 2 decades ago. It really, really changed my life, and I hope that you guys get to have an amazing experience with a crystal that will change your life too. And if you're already really into crystals, then you can watch the rest of my videos in this series and my upcoming video on how to make a crystal grid. So have a wonderful evening or wonderful day. Please comment below with any weird metaphysical things that have happened to you that really made it feel like time and space ripped open, because those are my favorite, absolute favorite kinds of stories. And if you want to put an emoji, put the emoji you feel is the most metaphysical. And please like this video, comment and share these videos, all these crystal videos with people that are skeptics. Please do that. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.